What's up, everybody? We're back again. Happy Friday. It's episode 256 of the Dad Bod Golf Pod. It's Kyle and Ben. We've had a rough week, but we're ready to wind it up and let's play. Have some fun.
What's this wee stuff?
Yeah, it's mostly me. It's mostly me. But I'm just gonna. We're a team, so it's we. It's a we. We're ready to wind the weekend up. Hopefully, the weather's been nice here, man, other than the rain, but the tip's been great. Probably, hopefully, play some golf this weekend, have some fun. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Bet Online, the #1 sports betting website in the country. Sign up today, use your 50% welcome bonus, and BLEAV, get put in $100. They're going to give you 50 back free on top of it to play with. So, bet on literally everything, man. Basketball's right in the thick of it every single night. And then, you got baseball opening day coming up in a couple of months. Probably going to have some spring football. I mean, AFL, XFL action maybe coming up soon, I think. I know the AFL starts in like a couple of weeks. So,
in XFL, there was a commercial that ran the other night during the one of the playoff games.
Yeah.
So they're already plugging that. And I will say, congratulations to all you geniuses that realized, because I haven't watched very much of it, realized that the NBA was not going to play defense this year and bet the over on every game at the first. Now, granted, Vegas is caught up. Now the over is like 250 points per game.
But if you rode that train early,
if you hit that train early where every score was like 140 to 125 and you went ahead and took the over every time, congratulations. Thank you for winning.
Cash out now.
Yeah.
All right. So jumping into it. I mean, the first thing we got to talk, we love talking LIV golf, and we knew this would eventually come. LIV has finally landed their TV deal.
Yes.
And it's a fairly big network. They're going to have to dodge some pretty elite shows, though. There's some elite shows that are going to have to take a back seat, but they have landed I think a 4-year deal I saw with
a 4-year deal.
The CW network.
Which this is exactly what you and I predicted. We said that the Foxes and the NBCs and the CBSs of the world were not going to touch it. Because we said it was going to take like a Lifetime contract or a CW contract or a True TV contract. And that's what they did.
Yeah. So CW's owned by Nexstar, which is they kind of own like the Paramounts and stuff like that. So, if you want to watch Gilmore Girls, One Tree Hill, reruns, Riverdale, I got to check this new wall. I was looking up. There's this new Walker show, which is like the origin story of Walker, Texas Ranger, which sounds absolutely phenomenal.
I love that they picked a dude that looks absolutely nothing like Chuck Norris.
At all.
Guys, apparently when he grew up, he got blonde hair and a blonde beard, because right now he's like tall, dark, and handsome.
Yeah, exactly. So you're gonna have to dodge a little bit of that. You're gonna have to take a back seat if you love those shows, because it's LIV golf time. Every single event will be live. So that's good. I think that's great. I am very anxious to see how advertising sales reports come out for that, how revenue or not revenue, ratings and things like that come out for it, because you're not going to have YouTube anymore. So that's not going to be a thing anymore. So I found an article, and I think this explains all the details. So this is 9 things that you got to know about this LIV Golf CW network contract partnership thing. So this is from golf.com. So I'm just going to go ahead and cite them. So number 1, YouTube is no more. So there's no more. You don't watch it on YouTube anymore. So it's not going to be broadcast on YouTube, period. No streaming on YouTube, which I think is probably smart, because you take away that could take away from people watching on CW, which would help ratings and whatever. So no YouTube streaming. This one's interesting.
That was essentially, though, because one of the guys at work brought that up to me, and they go, "Man, they're taking away YouTube." And I was like, "Well, the problem with that is there are a bunch of countries that still," because Kyle, you and I alluded to this this past year. We could only watch it on YouTube, but like when they went overseas, they broadcast it on their home networks.
Right.
Overseas, because he brought up, he was like, what about people overseas don't get CW? And I was like, oh, well, they got their own network. They were already carrying it, like, because they couldn't get YouTube. So like China locks out YouTube. So you got to watch it through China's whatever it is network that they do.
I bet you they got the CW over in China for sure. So
one of the hot shows is Kung Fu, just in case you're curious.
There you go. All right. So number 2, this is good. This is funny because, everybody joke, oh, they're going to have to pay for, that was the thing. Like they're going to have to pay for their own airspace. Like that was one of the talks. Like they were going to just rent out 2 or 3 hours of airspace, pay for it, just the airspace. Number 2, LIV is not paying for a single dime for airtime on the CW. So
wow.
The financial part of it is still sort of quiet, but they do know that this has nothing to do with the LIV is paying to be on this network.
Mm-hmm.
It's a partnership. Now, whether or not they make any money on it, we'll have to see. But they are not forking out any money to be on this thing. So number 3,
how can they not make money though? Like, because some of these companies that are Saudi owned or Saudi investors are a part of, when they go to them, they're gonna be like, we want you to sponsor this. They can't say no. Their investors are also investors in this. So they can't say no. Like, you've got basically a hot list of Lockheed, Facebook. We may see Facebook ads on there because Facebook is got a majority share is with the Saudis. So I'm just curious, when they talked about this, I mean, because that's the business I'm in, is selling advertising. I mean, Kyle knows that. I think we've mentioned before. I mean, I know I do a show, but also got some advertising deals. That's what you do. You go to the people that are already invested within it. I mean, like when we do high school broadcasts, we go to the people that we see are on the signs out in the outfield. And we're like, hey, you got this sign where you're supporting the team. You need to be on the radio. So that's what they're going to do with these guys, and be like, hey, you're invested in this LIV tour. You need to be invested in the TV deal.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to do it.
They're going to make money. They're going to make money. Number 3, you're going to love this, Ben. Streaming will carry early round broadcasts.
Thank you. It's not that hard.
Hey, you may make it better. It's free. You don't have to pay for the ESPN Plus. You don't have to have any subscription. All you got to do is have the CW app.
Wow.
Let's see.
So you don't have to do the, what is it that does it right now? Peacock Plus. Like you have to do the 6-month trial so you can watch an hour of golf during the majors, because that's what they're putting over there. Sucks.
So it says, this is interesting though. It says opening round LIV coverage will not be carried on broadcast television. Rather, Friday coverage will be carried exclusively on the app, which is kind of disappointing. The rest will be on the television coverage. So it's an app. It's free. So that's good. Number 4, the CW is very serious about growth. So Nexstar is really trying to blow up CW.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be their their anchor deal to really help boost viewership. So it's a big deal. Number 5, LIV got what it needed after a year of negotiating. It's difficult to argue that CW was LIV's first choice in the lucrative world of TV streaming. But that might not matter much. And in the CW, LIV found a nationally televised broadcast network with the ability to reach some 120 million viewers. So big deal.
Wow.
Number 6, the CW is serious enough about LIV. No, the CW very likely didn't leverage billions in rights fees for LIV Golf, because LIV Golf was not really didn't really have any leverage whatsoever for rights to the events. But make no mistake, even if the risk is low for the CW, they're invested in LIV success too. So they got, what a deal. What a deal.
I think it's an awesome deal.
Well, they weren't scared. They probably got the rights for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
And they'll be able to do it. Number 7, not sure how this one, I'm going to have to read this one out. It says the PGA Tour is involved. Kinda. It says when Nexstar purchased the CW from Paramount and Warner Media, They allow both media companies to retain 12.5% ownership stake in the network, meaning that both Paramount and Warner Media now are partially invested in LIV Golf's broadcast success. Ironically, both Paramount, which is CBS, and Warner Media, which is Discovery, are broadcast partners of the PGA Tour with billions in outstanding right fees onto the tour. So that's kind of funny. So,
wow.
Yeah, the PGA is roundabout, with their involvement with CBS, is sort of in on this as well. So, number 8, LIV broadcast will remain unchanged. LIV will continue to be responsible for the production of its events. None of the major players from LIV's first season, from producer Steve Beam, broadcasters Arlo White, David Feherty, or Jerry Foltz, will be going anywhere. So Feherty not going anywhere.
I knew that. That was one of the things that I did read.
And then in number 9, it just says LIV's long-term remains a question mark, which I'm sure that's just, I'm not even going to give that any, that's just them trying to, put some sort of negative spin on.
Yeah, because you've heard more and more players that have come out here as of late saying there's got to be a truce. We got to work something out. There's got to be a way where both leagues can exist. And I don't think they like it. I don't think they're a big proponent of some of the stuff that Rahm has said.
Sure.
And, and I'm not real sure the PGA Tour's nobody's really made a statement from the PGA Tour. I'm not real sure the PGA Tour is real happy with Augusta National saying that they're going to allow LIV play. Because now that you and I talked about on the last show, that set the precedent. Now the other majors are going to have to do it, or you're going to be known as the jerks that didn't do it.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're just going to look bad. If you're going to look really, really bad, look really weak, I guess, weak and petty. So, and you're going to look like you don't care about the fans, and you're going to basically say, I don't care about the fans, because I'm really anxious to see how these guys perform in the Masters, because I mean, if one of those guys sneaks up and somehow wins it, it's going to be absolute chaos.
Everybody talks about Augusta like you got to know how to play Augusta. DJ knows how to play Augusta.
Cam Smith knows how to play Augusta.
Cam Smith knows how to play Augusta.
Patrick Reed has won.
Yeah. Patrick Reed is Bubba knows how to play Augusta.
Yeah.
Phil knows how to play Augusta. Like,
there's some players, man.
You've seen, as deficient as Tiger is, he can still show up and shoot 2 under at Augusta,
right,
on one leg. So that's something where you're right. I mean, we could very well see a leaderboard with the front page of the leaderboard could very well have 2 or 3 LIV players on it in the first major of the year.
No doubt. Before we move on, I want to give a quick shout out to Swannies.co. I got their hoodie on right now.
I got a shirt on.
Got the shirt on.
This is one of my, if you guys get a chance, get the grab bag. You don't know what you're getting. They're going to send you 3 shirts. You don't know what they look like. It's like less than $100. Hit that promo code, because you're going to save even more. So you get 3 shirts for like $58.
Yep.
It's unbelievable.
Save big. Use coupon code DABBARGolfPod -25. Take 25% off all your orders. In some places, go ahead.
And Kyle, on the grab bag, if they send you a shirt you already have, they will replace it, because it happened to me.
The customer service is awesome. Like, they sent us some promo items to promote for Black Friday, and then we did the subscription box. And it's hard for them to know what they sent on a free box versus a paid box. They sent me an item I got in the free box. I just emailed them. Boom. 3 days later, had a brand new, and they gave me whatever I asked for. So like, their customer service is is just outrageous. They're awesome. So check them out. Save big. Swannies.co. Life's a party. Dress for it.
Yes.
All right. Moving on, this is sort of a would you rather ish type deal, but there was a good tweet that went out, and it was like, what's your top what ifs of golf? What ifs, and then we're going to have some discussion on it. So, what is a top, like, what if this happened? What would it mean for golf? You go first.
Mine is more, what if it didn't happen?
Okay. Because I mean, that is part of that. You could say
I was sitting Thanksgiving weekend in Red Level, Alabama, with my family when the news came across because that's all we do is watch sports when I
Middle
go
of the
home.
Iron Bowl.
And news came across that Tiger Woods was in an accident.
Yep.
And this is not the most recent. This is the first accident. This is the one where Elon chased him down the street with a 6-iron.
Yeah.
And put it through the windshield.
Allegedly.
And he ran over a fire hydrant, and his neighbor didn't even know who he was, and was like, "Yeah, there's some dude that's laid out in my yard." He didn't even know who Tiger was. And so, what if? And I think that's a bigger umbrella, Kyle, because I got to thinking about this. What if Tiger just kept up that quote unquote perfect persona that we all thought he had, where he was with Elon, didn't have any indiscretions within his marriage, didn't have any of the rumors of the playboy mentality of being with these different women and the text messages that ended up getting sharing because there were people that, they tried to flip on him so they could get money out of him and that kind of stuff. What if that whole situation, what if he stays grounded and just focuses on golf and is not the sheltered, nerdy boy that once he got some money and he got some power, he decided to go ahead and start slinging it a little bit. What if he just stays within himself? I mean, do we see he easily breaks Jack's records? Does he easily get to, I mean, he's already got the 82 wins. Is he at 100+ wins if that happens? Because it took so many years off his career.
So here's my question. Did the transgressions derail his career, or was it injuries that derailed his career?
I think during that time, it was the transgressions. Actually, it was him getting caught. If he didn't get caught, he probably still goes on to win. That was during the heat of when he was playing well. So if he doesn't get caught, he's still a playboy and still winning tournaments if he doesn't get caught. So, I don't think it was injuries. I think it was the transgressions that derails, because then he entered the sex rehab thing that he was in.
But Ben, here's the deal, though. Here's the deal. So that was in 2008, right? Yeah. Okay. Or was it 2009? 2009.
It was after his heyday of the early 2000s, and he was
2009,
and he was rebuilding. Remember, he was rebuilding his swing at that time when it happened, because he was kind of in some tournaments where he didn't do very well. And then he started, he was actually coming out of it and about to head into probably a pretty good season after Thanksgiving, because at that time the seasons began, like we talked about, end of November, 1st of December. He had scheduled events that he was going to be at, and he ended up, then he had to do that stupid apology with his mom and Elon there and all that in front of Augusta National. It was what if Elon didn't pick up the phone and read those text messages? Maybe that's the way I should have put it. Maybe what if she doesn't see those?
All right, here's the deal. All right, 2009 is when this happened. Okay. He won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He won 6 times in 2009. Okay. So then it all pops out, comes out that, whatever happened. He came in 4th, and then so the very next year, 2010, top 5 Masters, top 5 US Open. Didn't have any wins. I think he had some little injuries. I think I remember him withdrawing from the Players with a back injury or something like that. Seems like I remember that.
Car wrecks will do that to you.
Yeah. Then 2011, he did not have that great of a year. I think he was still, kind of battling some injuries, had a top 5 at the Masters. Then 2012, he comes back and wins 3 times.
But that's what I'm saying. He went over for 2 years because he.
But was that injury related? I mean, he didn't play in a lot of events. He didn't play.
Does he get injuries because he's not working on his game and he's going in and out of rehab and he's seeing counselors and he's not able to put the time in that he was putting in before? You see what I'm saying? It took so much time away from his practice and from him working. That's my biggest. That's my number one. What if is Tiger in 2009, because then he went 2 years without winning. I understand he won a top 5, but we just mentioned guys that have won 2
years without winning.
Augusta he won 2 years.
But then the next 2 years he won 8 times.
Yes,
in the next 2 years.
But what if he wins 2 times in 2010 and 2 times in?
But he was hurt. But he's hurt. That's what I'm saying. How much of That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think the transgressions have nearly as big of an impact as his injuries did. Like, I think
no, I think it totally was a ripple effect. I think one led to the other. I think that once he got done, he was not able to put the work in and put the time in, and he was having to meet with PGA Tour officials and meet with counselors and have to go to sex rehab and all that, and he's not able to put the time into work. Then when he did play, he was doing stuff he shouldn't. I mean, you and I, we've done that. I mean, where we take time off and we get out there, we're like, oh man, now my back's hurting because I hadn't played golf in 3 weeks, and he wasn't playing golf in like 3 months.
Maybe so. Maybe so. I just don't know that. I don't know that him, banging a bunch of randos had a whole lot to, or getting caught. I don't know that had a whole lot to do with much other than, like I said, he'd had a 2-year.
He went over in 2010 and 2011.
Yeah, and then he went 8 for the next 2 years. So, like, I mean, he doesn't break Jack. He doesn't break Jack's record in those 2 years. Like, he's not.
But if he gets one major, or if he gets 2 majors out of those 2 years, he's a hell of a lot closer than he is now.
Well, that's. I mean, but that doesn't get him there.
But that's why it's called a what if.
But it didn't we're
not trying to prove that that's what happened. We're just saying, what if it didn't happen? You see, if it
didn't happen, he probably would have won 5 more times in 2 years, 5 or 6 more times in 2 years.
Then he breaks Sam Snead's record, and he possibly gets a hell of a lot closer to Jack.
He does break Sam. I'll give you that. If that doesn't happen, he does not break Sam Snead's record. I mean, he does break Sam Snead's record, which, whatever. But and he may have won one or 2 majors, maybe. I don't know.
Well, you throw it out like that's like a simple. He may have won 1 or 2 majors.
Maybe. I'm saying maybe. Like he battled some injuries, and then after the 13 seasons, whenever all hell broke loose, and his body just completely gave out until they had to screw it all back together, and he could finally play again and won the tour championship. So that's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one. I would. What if the injuries? That's to me, that's the bigger conversation. What if there's no injuries? I think
that's another one of my what ifs, though. You're jumping ahead on me. That was another one of my what ifs was injuries.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about if there's no injuries, because basically you have to take out. I mean, go ahead. I mean, I'm going. You can do whatever you want to do, Ben, but I'm saying. I remember the Players Championship. I remember him getting hurt in the Players Championship. I remember that withdrawal in 2010, and there's no doubt that probably affected the rest of the year. And in 2009, 2011, hell, he didn't play, but he withdrew from the Players again. He didn't play, but in like 6 events. So in 2011, so if he doesn't get hurt, I mean, he doesn't play at all hardly in 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 2000. They do the seasons weird. The 2015-16 season, the 2016-17 season, he didn't play any. So he didn't play for 2 solid years. Really, 3. Probably didn't play really good golf because of injuries for 4 solid years.
That's what I'm saying. That was that ripple effect I'm talking about. Like he gets caught. There's your what if on the get caught. He goes 2 years without a win. Then the injured. That was going to be my next what if. The injuries. Then he goes another. I thought it was actually 3 years that he went without a win. So I was even thinking like 4 to 5 years that he went without a win in that window that you're talking about due to injury /
It was longer than that.
Again, I don't want to call it indiscretions, because I still think if Elin doesn't pick up the phone that night, I think he's still doing it. You see what I'm saying? I don't think it ends. Clearly he had a problem. So if she doesn't catch him, it's still happening even to this day if she doesn't catch him. So between, as I said,
how many majors? Let's just say this. How many majors with the notion that from essentially after his 2013 season where he won, after the 2013 season where he won 5 times, okay, 5 times. So the 13, 14, 14, 15, 15, 16, and 16, 17 season where either he didn't play a single event or he barely played any. Those 4 seasons, 5 seasons, how many majors do you think he wins in those years?
I say out of 5 seasons, out of that 5 that you and I have just talked about, I think he cost himself minimum 3 majors.
3. That's the number I was looking at.
3. And I think the over under there is probably 3.5. If they're putting that on betonline.ag, then it's gonna be
3.5.
It's gonna be 3.5. And does he get that 4th in that span, or does he stay at 3? So it's gonna be 3.5. And so I think he cost himself 3. And because again, I understand some of the stuff was like nagging injuries, the whole speech he did about my glutes weren't firing. And then he had the knee issue that he was, even Stevie said it was, the knee was actually worse than I thought it was when I saw that documentary. I didn't realize that it, like, they could hear it crack, like when he was swinging a golf club. That's pretty darn bad.
Bones were like grinding together.
Yeah, exactly. So, between that early part of the career where he got busted by Elon and then his injuries a little bit later on, that 5-year span, I think he cost himself 3 majors. Because he was
himself his injury.
His injury.
It cost him 3 majors.
Here's another thing. He's even admitted on the whole knee issue and some of the other issues, he should have been running either on a treadmill or swimming instead of running on the pavement and pounding his knees down.
For like 4 miles. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, exactly. And it was like 4 miles in the morning, and like he closed out the day with 4 miles. It was like 8 miles a day total that he was that he was hurt. So he even admitted that. He said, a lot of the injuries, he said, I can blame myself for. He said, because I just did not take care of my body like I should have. Kyle, I don't know if he did steroids. I don't know if he did HGH or what, but I mean, the whole bulking up and lifting and all that kind of, one of the, this thing that we got it from, we saw this on Twitter, this what if, and one of the guys brought up, said, if he hadn't have done that SEAL training that he did for like 5 years in a row.
Yeah.
Like, what if you don't do that? I mean, do you save your body a little bit?
Yeah.
So as John Daly famously said, you can't pull fat, Kyle. Can't pull fat.
Yep, you can't pull fat. All right, so here's my what if. Okay, what if in 2006 at the U.S. Open, Phil hits 3 wood on 18.
I was hoping you would take this because I really wanted to put it, but I told you I wanted to keep my entire. I really wanted to put this one in there.
Pars the hole, wins that U.S. Open in 2006. What is the
floodgates open?
What floodgates open there?
Man, because it's like we just talked about. It's like we talked about with Tiger. Does he have 3 to 5? I mean, I even venture to say with Phil, the way he played, is he's got so many seconds. Phil probably gets 5 more majors, not 3.
Because
his number's probably
again,
5.
He did it again in 2009, where he blew either was close to the lead, blew the lead to Lucas Glover. Couple of years prior to that, he kind of had a freak thing in 2004 at Shinnecock, where he was in a bunker on a par 5, had a rock behind his ball, and ended up double bogeying a par 5, and there's like a 2-shot swing. So that was not really a choke so much.
Yeah,
this is kind of where the choke started. And I just wonder if he makes that.
He's John Vandervelde the U.S. Open.
Yeah. Because he could have still gone to a playoff. He hits it way left. He hits driver, which was dumb, hits it way left. And then instead of punching back out in the fairway, hitting it on the green 2-putt and going to playoff, he tries to hit a hero shot. It hits the tree, ricochets to where he's dead, and then he makes double bogey and loses. So I just wonder if that would have given Phil, I think would that have been his first major?
Yes, that would
have been his first major. So what is the chain reaction that happens after that? Instead of waiting all the way until, whenever it was when he won the Masters, 2008, 2010.
Well, here's what's funny is you do the what if he takes 3 wood.
Yeah.
On that scenario, my what if in that scenario is what you just mentioned. Why does he not punch out and take his medicine and play for bogey instead of trying to make the hero shot. Because how many pros that we've talked to, even, the Corn Ferry guys, even collegiate golfers, where they say you got to keep your mental wits about you. It's okay if you block a tee ball or if you get, but like you just said in the last episode that we did, you said, that's my biggest issue. I hate having to take my medicine, but you're not too big not to do it. Like I've played with you and you will hit it behind a bunch of trash and you got your wedge and you're just putting it out in the fairway and hoping you can get up and down for par, if not save your bogey.
I'll make it.
Phil's in the friggin' US Open. He blows it right. Thank God it stays in play because it hits that building and stays in play. So he's already lucky that happened.
Yep.
And he should have, why Bones didn't snap every club in his bag but his wedge to go under that tree, put it on the green, 2-putt for bogey. Let's go home a winner. That's what we're going to do.
2-putt for bogey. We'll go to a playoff and, whatever happens. We'll make a quick correction. That would not have been his first major. He won the Masters in 2004. But what it would have been would be back-to-back majors because he won the Masters in 2006. He would have won the U.S. Open right after that.
Yeah.
Where does he go from there? What trend? I mean, the trend. And after that, it just kind of seemed like that was just a story. He was just a choker. I don't know. That was my thing. What if he makes that? So,
no, I agree. I mean, he could have rolled off. He could have had a run. He could have had a run like Tiger had in the early 2000s, where the late 90s, the 99 through 01 run that Tiger had, Phil was in position to have that sort of run. And I don't know if you remember it, but even the interviews post round after that, he looked dumbfounded. Like, what was I doing? I mean, he was like, that was dumb. Like, now I realize it. That was dumb. I shouldn't have done that. And what I just said, he defended the tee ball. He was like, well, I was going to do that off the tee anyway. I had my mind made up. I probably shouldn't have gone for the hero shot. I should have punched out. And it's what he should have done.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Regardless, if you just put it in the fairway, what happens? What's history look like?
Oh yeah, he's not going to do it because he's too big to do it. But that's like when they went back to Vanderbilt and they put him back on the same course and they said they gave him a putter and a wedge and they was like, that's all you get. It's only 2 clubs you get. And he ended up parring the friggin' hole with a wedge. I mean, same thing with Phil. Like if you tee off with a wedge, because he can hood his friggin' wedge and probably hit it 190 yards. I mean, if you tee off with a wedge, you do a wedge 3 times and get it on the green, save your friggin' par and move on.
Yeah, exactly. You got another one? Or are you good?
No, my other one, it was Tiger related as well. What if he would use his billionaire money and get him a friggin' driver?
Wait, say that one more time. You cut out.
What if he would use his friggin' money, his billionaire money? He's the first billionaire golfer ever. What if he used his billionaire money and got himself a friggin' driver? Not a driver to use on the course.
I got you.
One to get behind the wheel and take him places. And that's just, Kyle, that's not just that everybody's going to go when they hear this thing, go, oh, recency bias. No. He got pulled over and we've all seen those screenshots of him sitting in the jail cell with his hand between his legs and his head hanging because he got pulled over from his own restaurant because he was high on drugs and didn't have anybody to drive him home. And he got a DWI or DUI or whatever you want to call it, depending on the state. And then he wrecks his friggin' car. Same thing whenever let's take it back to when he was with Elon. I mean, he has somebody on hand in his compound to take him to wherever he needs to go. That person can drive, and maybe they don't wreck the car in the early 2000s when that happened. So, man, what if he used his friggin' money? And that's just from a legal point. Like every lawyer that's a buddy of mine that I've talked to, they're like, just from a legal standpoint, why didn't he have a driver? Because they can go after his assets if he kills anybody.
Exactly.
If he's got a driver through a company, they go after the company. They don't go after him.
Exactly.
And so you're worth $1 billion. Kyle, when you win that $1 billion lottery,
I will never drive anywhere in the rest of my life.
Please get a driver for goodness
for the rest
sakes.
of my whole life. So I got one and I got another one, and then we'll go to our last topic. But
I would say I would drive you, but I'm going to be in the back with you drinking and going to play golf. So I don't
exactly.
know.
Exactly. So this one is kind of goes twofold. Okay. So 2015, Jordan Spieth wins the Masters. They go to the US Open at Chambers Bay. Jordan birdies the last hole to get one shot ahead, get one shot up on Dustin Johnson. Dustin Johnson on and two with 12 feet for eagle to win.
Yes.
Okay. 12 feet for eagle to win. He hits it by about 4 feet, and then he misses the 4-foot putt.
This is such a Kyle Rush thing to do.
To make par.
Putting for eagle and 3 putt.
Yeah, from 12 feet.
Yeah.
And Jordan Spieth wins the US Open back to back. So my question is, what if he makes that putt? What does that do to Jordan? Does that affect Jordan Spieth's trajectory at all? And what does it change for Dustin Johnson? Because I mean, he did win. He did win at I think at 2016 was whenever he won the very next year, and then he won the Masters in 2020. But does going ahead and getting that major in, or at least going to the playoff, and whatever happens at the playoff, maybe he wins, whatever. What does that change? Either way, what does that change? Does it change?
I think that affects DJ way more than it affects Jordan. Jordan was already in kind of a hot area of playing good golf. So even if he comes up second there, I think he still continues to play well. I think that was an unexpected win. People forget Jordan was finished.
Hey, back it up real quick.
He was a clubhouse leader at that point. So
let's back it up. Let's change it up a little bit. What if DJ doesn't ground his club in the bunker?
Well, it's funny because
not Wingfoot. What's the name of that course? In Minnesota.
You ask?
They just had the US Open. They just had the Ryder Cup there. Whistling Straits.
Whistling Straits. It's funny that you mentioned when you brought up DJ about that. That was one of the things that I saw on like the Twitter feed. And one guy brought up a good point. What if DJ realizes that he's in a bunker? Like he grounded his club thinking he was just in sand, random sand. He didn't know he didn't pull up Patrick Reed. He didn't try to improve his lie. He just thought he was in rough, because keep in mind, people may forget bunkers can be literally a 1-foot circle at that place, and they're considered bunker. And the people were standing in it. He hit into the crowd. They're standing in the bunker. That just doesn't happen. Like nobody's going to be standing in the bunker at the front of 16 at Augusta, where they're going to be trampling down the bunker so people can't hit a bunker shot if they come up short of the green. Like that's just not, that doesn't happen anywhere else, only at that place.
And so that's in 2010. That happens in 2010. Yeah. He doesn't end up winning his first major until 2016. Does that change things where he, once if he were to get that in and get into the playoff and win that playoff, does he win? Does that make him to where he goes on a little run or something like that?
Well, what if he's full of what ifs? What if he doesn't fall down the stairs at Augusta National?
Yeah. What if he doesn't break his ass at Augusta?
I mean, DJ's right there with Tiger on now.
Yeah.
We can't throw him up there with Chasing Jack's record, but still that window of 3 to 4 years, DJ was right there where he could have kind of controlled the golf world.
Sure.
And a
couple of things go his way.
Yeah. You do wonder. He's a big what if. He's a what. Yeah. The ground in the club to this day, I still am kind of pissed about that. I don't think patrons should be allowed to stand in bunker. If they're standing in it, it ain't a bunker. That's the way I look at it. That's just not like you. Now, granted, that's the rule now. Now you can ground your club. So he'd get away with it based on today's rules. But, between that and his 3-putt on 18, that was I was more frustrated as a fan at the fact that I was like, all right, lag it down there, get your tap in and move on. And he went after it and blew it by 4.5, 5 feet. And then, you could tell he was missing the comebacker from the time it left the putter head.
We knew it was gone. We knew there's no way he's making that putt.
Yeah. I mean, that would have been a great prop bet. However, would have lost their rear end because people like us were like, there's no chance he makes his coming back. Like, I
I
would have
would have
bet.
never. I would have bet everything I had at the time
Yeah.
on Bet
Yeah.
Online.
Yeah, we knew. We knew. So, yeah,
Yeah.
DJ's a big what if guy.
So there's always great what ifs everybody talks about. What if the Tiger doesn't hit the flag on 15 in 2013 at the Masters in the third round and hits the flag and then sucks back into the water and then does the weird drop where he goes back and he's not supposed to go back and he stones it right after that. I mean, like, what if that doesn't happen? Does he win the 2013 Masters? There's just so many you can go through. I'd love to hear what you guys think. What's your biggest what ifs? I mean, you could just go on and on and on.
I saw it on there. One of the ones that stuck out in my mind because growing up, me being a little bit older than you, one of my favorite guys to watch before Tiger had his big run. My favorite guys to watch whenever I was like a teenager was Payne Stewart.
Yeah,
because and so there was somebody put on there, what if Payne Stewart's plane doesn't go down in South Dakota?
Yeah.
What does he continue to do? Does he continue? Is he a Ryder Cup captain? Is he, does he win another major or two? Is he on the senior tour right now, just dominating everybody? Because he would be right around that age frame right now where he would be on the Champions Tour, Champions Tour, dominating everybody. So, yeah, there's a ton of what ifs.
Yeah, I mean, Payne would only be like 65.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, it's one of those deals where there are a ton of what ifs. What if his plane doesn't crash? What kind of mentor is he for the younger golfers? Is he somebody that's in Tiger's ear that Tiger doesn't do a bunch of screwing up? Because Payne did. He would take younger golfers under his wing and kind of talk to them a little bit and kind of explain the way the tour was. So
he died in 90. He died in 99. He was 42. Yeah. So probably not going to win another major. But that was a really good point. What if, that's right when Tiger was coming on to the scene. What if they became buddies? What if they became buddies and it kind of rubbed off. Payne kind of rubbed off on Tiger. What would that mean to Tiger's career moving forward? So that's a really good one. I love watching.
Payne's got a local tie to us here locally.
What's that?
The Johnsons from J&M. He was married to Trey Johnson's sister.
Wow.
So that's a little local tie here.
How about that?
Yeah. So it was one of those that, like, he was a guy that I watched, and even in like 97 went and watched when I was in college, and because he would play at like the Buick Championship over in, that was before it was out on the West Coast. That was when it was held at Callaway Gardens. So he played in that. So I got to follow him and watch him in that. So yeah, he was another big what if for me. Somebody like a Payne Stewart. Like what is his legacy if if that plane doesn't go down?
Love it. Ben, that's a pretty solid show, man. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. We're going to get back after it next week. There's I think is it the American Express this weekend?
Yes, that is this weekend. This is the California Swing. They
hate this course. They absolutely hate this course because it's too easy. They get pissed off because it's a birdie fest, which we love. John Rahm had a lot of cuss words to say about it last year, I believe. And I think it was an effing putting contest is what he said. So,
which is fine. That's what we're fine with that.
Yeah. So
as a fan, I like the extremes. I either want it US Open style where we're just hoping somebody ends up shooting 1 under before it's all said and done with, or I want 45 under at the end of the tournament. Like there's
what the lead, without looking at the leaderboard after round 1, what do you think the lead is?
I'd say 7, 8, 9, something around there.
How about 10?
Wow. Yeah. So I just
10,
let you know.
8, 8, 8, 8. There's 5 dudes, and John Rahm's one of them, that shot 8 under. Sam Burns. That's a pretty good leaderboard. Let's see who this is. Davis Thompson. I think, did he play at Alabama? Davis Thompson.
You want to know something that'll humble you real quickly, Kyle?
Yeah, humble me.
When these guys play a course like that and they shoot 10 under, and everybody else shoots 8, like everybody on the leaderboard's like 7, 8, 9, 10. That's the way it was when the Barbasol was the RTJ, which is the course that I play quite a bit, the lake course.
Yeah.
And I've maybe shot at the lake course. I think I've shot even once or twice. and maybe shot.
But that's from like up tees, not even.
Yeah, and that's from the up tees as well. That's not from the tips. And then that one year that I went out there and watched, and I literally followed Johnny Vegas around. He shot a 59. I was like, yeah, this is stupid.
This isn't. This is. These guys. This is not even real.
I was like, this is not real life. Like my best golf I ever played here, and I shot even par. And this guy goes out here and he shoots 59, like
from,
he's in his,
from 600 yards closer.
And he shoots 59 in his sleep, like it was because he didn't struggle all day. It was nothing but fairways and greens. He just made some bobs. He didn't.
Amazing.
Nothing was offline. He didn't miss a green, and he just made some putts. Shot a 59.
Love it. All right, y'all. Have a great weekend. Play some golf, and let's talk back on Sunday. It's episode 256 of the Dad Bod Golf Pod. We're always
stroking.